him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-magob, it is time for the only news that matters. And Mark Tornillo, the singer of Accept, was on the Metal Voice with Jimmy K a few months back and asked about the challenges of touring North America for a band like Accept, especially in the last few years. The now 70-year-old New Jersey-based singer who joined Accept in 2009 and says, "It's always been difficult to tour North America. It's mostly promoters and the fact that we need to play at least a big enough room where they're going to make some money. But it's got to have the turnout to do it. But we're going to make it happen this year no matter what. I know that. We all decided that if we have to take a cut, we'll take a cut. But we got to play. We got to play for the fans. We have no trouble selling tickets in South America. We have no trouble selling tickets in Europe. Or else I think it's just that the United States is just not metal territory anymore. I don't know why. I would love nothing better than to tour the U.S. every year, but we'll see if it plays out." Yeah, that was a few months ago. Now he's saying, hey man, people are twisting around what I meant. Because he did an interview with 100 FM, the Pike radio station, and he was asked to clarify his recent comments that the United States is just not metal territory anymore. And he explained, during the interview, I was actually being interviewed by a couple of guys who I know. And it was just a line in passing. It's like, why don't you guys play here more often? Well, the fact of the matter is that we really can't afford to play here that often because we make way more money in Europe, South America, and the rest of the world than you do in the United States. And if you think about it, most metal bands are in smaller venues here. Unless you team up together and go out and play sheds, or you're Metallica with Pantera and you can sell out arenas, well, it's more like stadiums. Says the things that are being pushed is not metal. The music, not so much the radios and stuff, but the record companies in this country do not push metal. They push whatever flavor of the week it is and aim toward kids. If they aimed metal toward kids, I think it would sell. So it's hard to say, but I certainly didn't mean it in a derogatory way. I just meant that it's very difficult for us to get a good tour together now. Luckily, we got two bands together that are going out and we're gonna kick some ass, he says now, because Accept is now going out on tour with KK's Priest. That's an awesome tour. I hope comes my way. I'd love to see that. He says, we're on the same page. Ripper Owens and I have become pretty good friends, and we're looking forward to doing this. So when HSU noted that he didn't want to make it sound like Mark was dissing anybody or anything in the original remarks, Mark said, blabbermouth, man, runs with it, and that's the headline. And the United States is just not metal territory anymore. It was a comment in passing, but they're bottom feeders, and that's what they do. You know who's also a bottom feeder? Me, man. I'll tell you right now. Only thing that matters is bottom feeding as well. Not as successful as Blabbermouth, not even close. But hey, we're carrying on the spirit of bottom feeding. All right, look, I don't think he should apologize for what he said about America. Are you crazy? You're right. You're 100% right. And I think this whole thing is like a PR thing to get people not to attack. I didn't see that Blabbermouth article, so I'm sure those comments, he got attacked a lot. That's why this came up. And he buckled under the attacks, it looks like to me, because what he said is not wrong. There's nothing wrong in it. It's just, there's a portion of the people out there, they're pickle whistlers. And they hate facts. They hate when you bring up the truth. So they attack you because you're being truthful. Now, I mean, look, and right down the board, it's not just metal, it's just all music's all disposable now. But if you think about it, Taylor Swift, female pop stars are the biggest things now. I even see hip-hop not around as much as it was dominating everything, with the scribble face guys and stuff like that. And, it probably is still doing well, but I think it's all about Taylor Swift and those female artists. I think they're like the biggest, artists today, especially that woman. So, yeah, man, I mean, metal's been dead in America forever. I mean, decades. Seriously. So, since grunge. I say since grunge. When 2000s came around and metal just made a comeback, it was all nostalgia, really. Because, these people that were into metal and they gave up on metal during the 90s, they, raised families, did other stuff where metal wasn't their priority anymore. And then they came back to listen to, You Got Another Thing Coming, Breaking the Law, and The Trooper. That's why these people in America go to those shows. They don't go to hear new music from these bands. They want to hear Turbo Lover. All right? That's how sad it is today. But whatever. My point, and anybody that's listening now that wants to argue that fact, all right, okay. Give me one band, just one, in the past 5 years. Let's give it 5 years. Because that's all it took for the bands in the past to explode. 5 years or less. Look at Def Leppard, 3 years. Iron Maiden, 2 years. 3 years, So yeah, I'll add in 2 years. In the last 5 years, name one freaking metal band. One! That has gone from clubs to arenas. In America. There's not one. Not one. Metal's dead in America. And believe me, I've been into metal since 1978. Right? I've championed metal all my life. All my freaking life. That's a long freaking time. Those are decades we're talking. Over 40 years. I've been champion metal all the time. I've been a strict metalhead. But then I see these things happen. And I know, I get it, my metal brothers and sisters out there from America. I understand I'm upsetting you. But it's upsetting to me. I guess you guys don't see it. That choose to think metal rules and lives forever. Yeah, it does for us. But the future generation, they can give a fuck about heavy metal. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Maybe it will happen in the future. I hope it'd be great. But at the moment, I choose to live my life accepting the fact that the masses no longer accept what I love. Now, let me go back in time in the early 80s. I think it was like maybe 81, 82. It was a guy I met at a party. We're all sitting around, and I had a Judas Priest shirt on. And he said to me, "Oh, Judas Priest, yeah. Flash in the pan. They'll be gone tomorrow." And I was like, all right. He's like, yeah, Judas Priest, Van Halen, Iron Maiden, Scorpions. He was naming all these bands I love, right? And he's like, flash in the pan shit. It's, and then, this is the greatest part. He brought up a band he likes. He says, you know what, man? Moby Grape. That's music. All right. let's go back to 1981 and Moby Grape. Was Moby Grape a flash in the pan or what? Because I was like, Moby who? You know? And then he went on to talk about the Grateful Dead, which I get. Grateful Dead is huge. I get it. There's a lot of people that I don't like that are huge. Sammy Hagar Belcher is huge in St. Louis. This Best of Both Worlds is doing really well in some markets I saw. Some markets it's a little shaky, but they're doing well even out of St. Louis. That's Sammy Belcher. I don't dislike anybody more than him. And like even worse music than Sammy Belcher, but I don't dislike him as much as Sammy Belcher, is Slipknot. I think that music is fucking terrible. That band has goddamn festivals, not fests. They're fucking huge. And I never heard a band worse than that. Does it upset me? No, I don't give a fuck. Let the kids enjoy it. Because I don't want to be that guy that was telling me about Flash in the Pan. And he was a Moby Grape fan. Get out of my face with bullshit. See, his time has passed in 81. Right? Our time, my time has passed. Like, yeah, it's been kind of decades. And, all you other metalheads, dude, I feel your pain, but fuck it. You can't do nothing about it except enjoy the heavy metal we grew up on. And in my case, I like looking out for new bands that has that 80s metal sound. Because metal will always live for me. It will always be alive in my soul. I cannot control what the masses like. And I don't give a fuck what the masses like. Look at what the masses like. Slipknot. And to a very much lesser extent, Sammy Belcher. I mean, garbage in my world. But hey, I accept it. And speaking of accept, yes, I saw Accept with Mark Tornillo back in 2010 on the incredible Blood and the Nations tour. That was my favorite album of that year. What a comeback album. Maybe the greatest comeback album ever. That and, yeah, that. Just that. Anyway, it wasn't a full club. I won't say it was like empty or anything, but yeah, they played the Culture Room where my band's played many times. And it holds, I don't know, what, 600 people the most? Probably 400 people were there. So, when stuff like that happens, you're not going to be asked to come back because the promoter loses money. So that's why Accept can't really tour because, promoters lost money when they played their town, so they're not going to have them back. Why? Because metal is dead in the U.S. Hey, man, that's just the way it is. It's dead. I accept it, If we ever do get like some club shows and shit, it'll be veteran bands, from the 80s, like an Overkill, Testament, stuff like that. Nothing new. Ain't no new metal bands headlining, even clubs from the past 5 years. Can you name one? Leave it in the comments below. Anyway, it doesn't matter because in the end, I will go in my room and I will crank Thunderfire. I was just listening to Thunderfire. Killer obscure band from the 80s. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Leave me comments below what you feel about, hey, do you think metal is dead in the U.S.? Or do you think it's alive and well with brand new bands headlining your local arenas? Yeah, doesn't matter. As long as metal's in my heart, I don't give a rat's ass if the masses accept it. Masses these nuts. Anyway, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't and leave a comment like I said. And because if you do that, if you leave a comment and you like this video and subscribe, it's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty, listen to Black Sabbath, and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston, and so never more shall we see you again.